My name is Julia Hart, and I'm the co-writer and director of I'm Your Woman, which is my take on the 70s crime drama, but from the perspective of a woman and how she navigates the dangerous crime world her husband has thrust her into while also protecting her baby.
Jimmy.
Something happened tonight. You'll work out with Cal where you're gonna go.
Who the hell is Cal? Where is Eddie?
I'm Cal.
All of my movies have been different genres, and it's because I love a bunch of different genres, but they've all been dominated by male protagonists and male filmmakers. I just consumed all of those movies, and what came out was I'm Your Woman. You know, as much as I love those movies and those movies are amazing, every time I would finish one, I couldn't stop thinking about the woman who was only in a handful of scenes, who I didn't really get to hear much from other than how it affected her husband or her boyfriend. And I wanted to tell that woman's story with her as the protagonist, but still make a genre film and make it authentically. So it's not like all of a sudden she's like, you know, a total badass and taking control, but that we would really see the authentic version of what a woman who is living in this bubble of isolation and fantasy, when that bubble gets burst and she's thrust into the real world, like how would she actually find agency and power and come out the other side?
I've never been on my own.
Anyone can learn to shoot. But what you really need to figure out is what you'll do when it's real.
We finished filming the third season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and we were already in pre-production. So Julia and Jordan were out in Pittsburgh. I was acting in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel by day and helping produce I'm Your Woman by night. It was wild. It was a wild ride and so fun to do that complete yo-yo. I was a little bit nervous about the limited amount of time to begin to rediscover that stillness and that quiet and that really careful and thoughtful use of language and use of Jean's voice that is so central to who she is. But it felt really good to be able to dive into a completely different world, and especially with all of the incredible people involved with this project. It was a real treat from top to bottom.
As much as there are a lot of stories to tell looking forward, I also feel like there's ground to make up looking backward at periods of time where there are lots of really amazing stories to tell that haven't been told in genres that, you know, we're not seeing as much of anymore. And so I love the idea of looking back to the 70s crime films and actually just making one in the 70s. And I also think it's just a really fascinating time for women and for race in America. And it was really interesting being able to reflect on the role of the Black characters in the 70s versus today, and also for the white woman in the 70s and today, and like the things that have changed and also the things that have not changed and all of the work we still have to do. So it was fun in terms of the cinema of it, but then also just in terms of just the history and the message to get to explore, you know, that time period, but in 2019, which is when we shot it. I know it's 2020 now.